People on the First Coast already know this, but we want to tell you the first recorded Thanksgiving wasn't actually between the Pilgrims and Indians at Plymouth. It was actually more than 50 years earlier than that, and it was in St. Augustine.
That's the beauty of being older. I don't remember what you just said. So.
Historians Chad Light and Roger Smith like to kid around.
Come close to me, Chad.
But they both know the history of the first recorded Thanksgiving in what is now the U.S., and it wasn't at Plymouth.
Wherever it was, you can see it from right here.
Right.
You know, if you don't know where the exact location is, it's in eye shot right now.
Spanish documents show the first recorded meal between European colonists and Native Americans happened on the grounds of what is now the Fountain of Youth in St. Augustine in 1565, 56 years before that meal in Plymouth. The Timucua Indians ate with the Spanish colonists right after the colonists arrived in Florida. The Spanish were going to have a feast that day anyway because
it was the date of the feast of the birth of the Virgin Mary. So it's basically the Catholic birthday party for the mother of Jesus.
Light says the Timucua were invited.
They were all invited, and about 200 of them showed up.
On the menu?
It's whatever they brought with them.
On the ship. Documents say the meal was made up of beans and salted pork.
They would put it into a stew. Things go a lot further when you throw them into stews. And you can get the cup of Spanish bean soup at the Columbia. It's very similar. And it's delicious.
No documentation exists that the natives brought anything, but if they did, it was probably seafood and root vegetables.
There's always that great drawing of the alligators laying over the smoker, you know. I think that was, drawn by a Georgia fan, I'm not sure, but...
And even though the Spanish had just come in off big ships off the coast of St. Augustine and pulled everything to shore on smaller boats like that one, some historians say they would have still had that Thanksgiving feast at a table.
Oh yeah, chairs, all kinds of silverware. Yeah.
It sounds crazy, huh?
The meal in St. Augustine was 5 decades before Thanksgiving at Plymouth. It was for thanks, and it was right here on this land.
That's what's so cool about history.
That's what's so cool about this spot is that we know where, we know who, we know what time, we know why, and we know what. Doesn't get better than that if you're a historian, actually.